Truth be told, when I was 18 years old, I knew I was a problem drinker. I was in downtown Nashville, this big party on the river, and a girl who I'd been trying to meet and date for a long time, we were slow dancing, and she looked up at me and said, "Les, why do you drink so much?" Still remember that to this day. Didn't have an answer. And the next morning I woke up, my fingers were rolled up into a ball. But at that time, I didn't care whether I lived or died, kind of in that situation where it didn't really matter.
The first time I ever did meth, I gave up my vehicle, my home, and lost my job in 3 weeks.
Wow. This is what I want to do forever. What I thought the very first time I used it. I had UPS managers in downtown Nashville hunting for a package on Christmas Eve, thinking it was an engagement ring for my wife. And it was a bottle of pain pills.
My mom had a spiritual experience, spiritual awakening after being on drugs for 20 years. Boom. Never drink, used again. Like I might set down the drugs, but I pick up the credit card. But I might set down the credit card, but I pick up the fork, you know?
All I know is that I walked different. I never touched another drug or drank since. It was over that day.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be? Brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Marianne Williamson.
Welcome to Powerful Beyond Measure, a podcast about radical transformation, gritty stories, and the undeniable power of second chances. I'm your host, Matt Culp, a man in long-term recovery who believes in the power of grace, grit, and growth. Each week, we sit down with real people who've overcome real struggles, from addiction to adversity, and found purpose on the other side. No fluff, no filters, just truth, healing, and hope. Because the truth is, you are powerful beyond measure, and it is time you knew it. All right, we're here with Les Parker. And so what we do is usually get to know you, where you're from, what's your name, and then kind of backstory, and then kind of go from there. And then we'll kind of lead into other topics or whatever.
Yeah, well, my name is Les Parker. Originally from Nashville, grew up in the Bellevue area. Been living in Murfreesboro now for about 22 years, 23 years, somewhere around there.
I didn't know you were from Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to Nashville Christian.
I knew you were on that show, Nashville.
Yeah. I did that show many times. Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
Nashville Christian.
Nashville Christian.
Started in second grade, so I went 11 years.
What about your family? Grow up? You had a good family?
Yeah. My dad owned a gas station in Nashville, and so I grew up kind of working at his gas station. So
Okay.
I think that's where I get my work ethic from. When the kids were playing in the summer, I was changing tires, at 12 years old. So
Yeah. I remember that. My friend Jeremy Bird, his dad owned a gas station too. I remember you told me that.
Yeah, that's what my family did. Everybody had a gas station.
I know that we met in recovery, but if you want to talk about what your addiction was like, how you got to recovery, and then kind of what it's like now and what you do for a living, and stuff like that. And then we'll kind of spitball from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was when I was young, I was really overweight, and so my sister was 3 years older than me. So you can imagine the teasing and the taunting I got from her friends. I had nicknames like Fat Les and Bubba Chub, and when people are saying that to you, it really resonates. And
It's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so from an early age, I kind of felt like I didn't have a place, like I didn't fit in. I was trying to hang out with her friends that were 3 years older. I really didn't have, any real close friends. I had one or two from school. That was about it. And I will say one thing about addiction early on. Being overweight or eating excessively, I used to get sick a lot, right? Stomach aches.
Yeah.
My mom had this medicine she used to give me, and I remember to this day what it's called. It's called Paregoric. Okay, I don't think they make it anymore. It's opium, and so I would remember even when I wasn't sick, I would fake stomach aches in the nurse at school, so my mom would bring me this medicine. So even at 8 years old, I already knew there was something out there that would change the way I felt.
It's like drug seeking behavior.
Early.
Yeah, early.
Yeah, real early. And I didn't know until I got became a therapist that the percentages of kids who took this Paregoric as children grew up to be opiate addicts.
Really?
Yeah, really high percentage.
How do you spell it?
I'm not sure. It's called Paregoric.
Okay.
You can look it up. It's you can Google it.
This is like 80s, 90s?
This was in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah.
You're old.
Yeah, I'm 61. Yeah.
You don't look that old.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I get 48 sometimes. I'll take that.
Somebody told me 27 the other day, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I from an early age, I would do, was already looking at things to change the way I felt. And, at that age, I knew nothing about addiction or anything like that. And, but during high school, I wrestled, and I remember I was really embarrassed to put the singlet on. Can you imagine a little fat kid having to wear the little singlet, So that was really, really embarrassing. So there's a lot of things that made me feel inferior, I guess, early on.
I was a fat kid, chunky kid also myself. Yeah. So I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how big were you in high school or when you wrestled?
I think my weight, I think I only wrestled like 112, but I was only like 4'2".
Okay.
I was
chunky.
Short. Yeah, I wore Huskies.
Stocky.
Yeah. I don't know. You're too young to remember the Huskies.
No, I wore them.
Yeah.
We used to have to go to Big and Tall and get clothes, and then my family would always have to hem them every time because I would need the waist size big, but they would be for a 6-foot guy.
Right.
Yeah. And I was 5'2" or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. It definitely affects you for sure.
Yeah.
It made me, it did make me feel inferior, but it also made me, it kind of made me good with girls because I was able to I had more depth. Like I was able to talk to them because I had nothing else, So I was funny or,
Yeah.
I had a little more game because I didn't have the looks, or I thought I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should bring up being funnier. I used to get joke books and memorize jokes.
Yeah.
And that's the way I, connected with people.
Yes.
Is through humor. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I connected that way, and then just being like a class clown, but aggressive. I was kind of violent a little bit too, so aggressive, violent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you share this, but once you go through something like that, I always think I could have a 6-pack. It could be 5% body, 3% body fat, and I still think I don't think like that now, but there was times in my life I would think I'm still chunky, no matter what. It was like body dysmorphia or whatever.
Yeah. Body's dysmorphia. Yeah. I still feel that way.
You think that had implications around the gym and the bodybuilding stuff?
Well, yeah. That's where it all began when I was 15, and my mom joined me up at a little gym called, well, it wasn't even a gym. We didn't have gyms. It was called Roman Health Spa.
Okay.
So it was a health spa, And I didn't know till years later that she only signed me up for 6 months because she didn't think I'd stay with it. And so I started working out and started changing, the way I looked, and started hanging out also with some older people there at the gym, and which weren't good influences. So, they seemed really old to me, but they're probably 21, 22 years old, maybe 25, I don't know. But that's where I was first introduced to marijuana and alcohol.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 15.
So you were 15, they were 20s.
Yeah, mid upper 20s. One of the people owned the gym, so
Okay.
they seemed old to me. But when you're 15, everybody's old.
Yeah, everybody's old.
Yeah, but they would have these camping trips, and we'd go to these cabins, and I can remember getting just belligerent, eating raw hot dogs.
Drunk?
Yeah. Yeah, high and drunk. And, and my mom, I had a lot of leeway. My mom and dad I don't know why. I don't know if why I had so much freedom at an early age, or why they even trusted these people.
It was different back then, though.
Yeah.
It was different.
Yeah.
It was different when I was a kid, and I'm way younger than you,
Yeah.
Or maybe my family I don't know. I had a lot of leeway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they treated me as if I was an adult because I did adult responsibilities, and so I could do anything outside of that, as long as I was doing the adult responsibilities.
Yeah.
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 Which is high expectations, and that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 16, me and a friend of mine, we used to drive from Bellevue all the way to Rivergate Mall. You know where that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, to go to a bar on Thursday night. And I don't even remember if we had fake IDs, but we'd dress up to look older. Like we had these hats we wore, and we dressed real nice, and we'd go to the bar on Thursday night. Had school the next day. And my mom let us go, I guess. But I had a curfew. Like we had to be back by like midnight. So we would go, and the only drink I knew how to order was a zombie, right?
What is that?
I don't know. I think it's got vodka and some other stuff in it. But it sounded good, right? So we didn't know how to order drinks. We were 16.
Yeah.
And we were in a bar. So I knew a zombie, so we ordered a zombie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we'd drink those. And sometimes be hungover the next morning. Going to school, had devotion, at school, I went to a Christian school. So sometimes I'd have to get up and lead hymnals, hungover.
I was telling my son yesterday, we were talking about my adopted son. I picked him up yesterday, and then my real son, Phoenix, we were talking about, well, actually he wasn't there, but we were talking about, what I was talking about with Phoenix is like people used to smoke cigarettes, and my parents smoked cigarettes in high school. They had a smoking section.
Had a smoking area, yeah.
Yeah, and then like when their parents told them to go to the store to get them cigarettes, they just were able to go buy cigarettes at like 10. It was like a completely different thing. We're talking about vaping. You can't vape unless you're 21 now.
Right.
But you can go to war or whatever, but you can't vape. But now it's like, back then it was so accepted, and like I started smoking when I was 13, but a lot of people were smoking prior to that. Like I was a late smoker, but my family they let me smoke,
Yeah.
My dad bought so much diesel from this one gas station that the people there would sell me cigarettes, and then I would resell those cigarettes,
Yeah.
But it's not like that now. It's I think they've figured out that I think the world is a little more health cautious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Around the vaping, around the cigarettes, people are like, no, cigarettes are bad, and they need to get a handle on the social media. But other than that, like everybody's a little more health cautious.
Watch movies from the 70s.
Yeah,
You'll see doctors in hospitals, surgeons coming out smoking a cigarette, talking to the patients, smoking. And there was a time when they actually thought that tobacco was good for you. It's healthy. It had health benefits. I know, what's the name of the company? The Morris Company, that sells...
R.J. Reynolds.
R.J. Reynolds, yeah. And they were saying that all the health benefits it had. Yeah.
I think nicotine does have some health, but all the other stuff that goes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like this whole sect of women on like TikTok that take nicotine patches
Mm-hmm.
and they wear them for like benefits, like I think weight loss and like a cognitive processing. But
I
like,
should know about that, but I don't.
you should.
I
Yeah,
don't know how to check into that. Yeah.
They're like, it makes them feel better or whatever. They just put a patch on. They don't smoke, but they put the patch on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my psychiatrist in Nashville, he's at Vanderbilt. He's got books out about the benefits of drinking coffee, caffeine. So I've never read one, but I know he's got them out. So he, talks about how beneficial caffeine is, and other people tell you don't, get off caffeine.
Don't ever touch it. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty. I think I used to study when I was in college, and I would like vape salt nick, but I would wait like all day. Once I was like studying, I would like listen to classical music, which helps with your brain. But I would also vape nicotine, but I would like not vape all day so that the nicotine would have like more of an effect.
The kick in, yeah.
Yeah, but you would have like a better cognitive experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but sometimes when you wait that long on nicotine, you get a buzz.
Head rush, yeah.
I don't need those.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was always smokeless tobacco. I started when I was 12. And
You like dip or
dip.
chew?
Yeah, dip.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were at the I don't even know if they still have it, the outdoor show in Nashville. There was always an outdoor show. A long time it was at Municipal Auditorium, and they were giving away free samples of
Dip.
U.S. tobacco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I started.
I think that was my first. These kids, they had like older kids, like 16. They were like, "Why don't you get this dip right here?" I mean, they were messing with me. They told me to swallow it. And
Yeah.
I puked. And
I've been there.
Yeah, they were messing with me. Yeah. My dad though, he dips when he deer hunts and then cuts wood, so he's like very limited. But
Yeah.
so when I do those, usually I dip, or when I'm deer hunting, I dip, or when I cut wood, which I don't do any of those anymore.
Right.
So, yeah, but I mean, I dipped for probably 2 years. I liked it.
Yeah.
I obsess. I get crazy with anything I do, pretty much.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's a substance, I go a little overboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. I actually don't vape. I don't do anything. I set it all down.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Well, I used to say, I've given everything up. Let me have this.
Yeah,
let me have one thing.
Let me have this one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like what happened after it's pretty much like the Y, like health center or whatever, like meeting those guys and.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I found a way to change the way I looked, and I figured to change the way I look, change the way I feel. Right.
Yeah.
And it worked, for the most part. But early out, I don't know if it was because I was exposed to alcohol and drugs at such an early age, or I was probably destined, from the very beginning to do it. Because truth be told, when I was 18 years old, I knew I was a problem drinker. I was in downtown Nashville, this big party on the river, and a girl who I'd been trying to meet and date for a long time, we were slow dancing, and she looked up at me and said, "Les, why do you drink so much?" Still remember that to this day. Didn't have an answer. I didn't know what AA was. I didn't even know what alcoholism was. I had never even heard the word.
How'd you feel when she said that?
Lost.
Yeah. Do you feel like less than, like you didn't know how to stop it, like shame?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely driven by shame.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't know there was, I knew it was a problem, but I didn't know why. It's hard to explain. What do you do when you're 18 and you know you're drinking too much, but you don't know? Like today, everybody knows about AA and recovery. I mean, really. I mean, if you're the social media the way it is, you know, you've at least heard of it.
Yeah, it's the most awareness that's ever been around for sure.
Yeah. And back in what would that have been? 1980, 81. The only thing I remember seeing about alcoholism, I was watching a show on the Lifetime channel or something like that. And at the very end, this woman gets up at this podium and says, "Hi, my name's Faye. I'm an alcoholic." First time I'd ever heard that. Didn't even know AA existed. But you know, with my story, that's at 18. I go another 25 years before ever picking up the phone, looking for AA in the phone book, and dialing the number.
Did you dial the AA number?
It was Manny.
Really?
It was their phone number. That's the one I found.
We're a different generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still remember who answered the phone.
That's cool. That's cool that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Steve?
Eddie
Jacobs?
Yeah. Speaking of Steve, I ran into him the other day. Hadn't seen him in a long time.
Little Steve
No, Big Steve. I'm talking about Steve Westbrooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my sponsor.
Oh, he is. He was mine for a while, a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah. He called me out on my shit, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah. You know, I trained him for a while. He got really into powerlifting.
Really?
Yeah, buddy.
Before his brain surgery?
Yeah, before.
Okay.
He was really into it. He was strong too. We trained for about 2 years together.
Powerlifting.
Mm-hmm. He was a pure power lifter.
Not interested.
Yeah.
I used to be, but
yeah.
Before my back surgery, that's the way I lifted, man. I lifted very aggressive. Like I lifted as if we were in, I guess because that's the way I learned how to lift, was if we were in a back garage at a football camp during summer conditioning, where everybody's like riled up, everybody's yelling, everybody's like seeing who can get it off the floor. Like that's how I want to lift, you know? But that's why
you got hurt.
That's how I got hurt.
Yeah, I know.
Now I'm very, very cautious of like what I'm doing and very like regimented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I rarely go out wild and just, you know, I'm going to go bench press a bunch of weight, you know. I'm very like, I do a lot of cable stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because of my right arm the way it is, I'm limited, but all I have is free weights because I work out at home. So I've learned how to do it. You know, I don't have any tricep muscle. It's all atrophied. And my lat is atrophied. And of course, my hand, you know, I can't move it properly either.
Has it got better or worse over the years?
No, it's the same.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hadn't got better or worse. So.
Can't they like, my friend Chuck, he got in a big bad accident when he was coming out of college, and he uses like something on his leg because his leg is atrophied. And it like, electrocutes it.
Like a TENS unit?
It stimulates it where he can walk around. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's able to like walk better with it.
Yeah. I used to use it on my arm just thinking I could stimulate the growth or something, but I found out it wouldn't work.
Yours is nerve, right?
Yeah, my nerve. Yeah, my nerve was, it was killed overnight. It died. You know, I was at the gym that night doing a unilateral bench press machine. You know this. Yeah. And I remember my right arm lagging behind, and I even went home and made a joke. I said, "Well, my neck's finally catching up with me." And the next morning, I woke up, my fingers were rolled up into a ball, and I didn't even know it until I went and sat down at the computer, because your brain still sending the signal.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know this was going on until I sat down at the computer, and there was only one hand on the keyboard. The other was beside me. Yet my brain thought it was there. I'm like, I'm having a stroke, you know? But at that time, I was on a lot of stuff. So I wasn't going to go to the hospital.
Like pain pills and alcohol and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So I said, well, if I'm this way tomorrow, I'll go. You know, I mean, who does that, right?
I mean, it wouldn't. Looking back, I mean, it had no effect of today or tomorrow. If you, it was already the damage.
It was already done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you didn't know that.
I didn't know
you
that.
thought you were having a stroke.
I thought I was having a stroke.
Yeah.
But at that time, I didn't care whether I lived or died. You know, I was kind of in that situation where it didn't really matter, you know. Yeah.
What do you think about the, you know, you said you reached out to AA 20, what did you said 20 years after you were 18? So.
Yeah, that'd been 2000. Yeah.
2000?
So 20 years, yeah. From 1980 to 2000. I think I stepped foot first time in AA in either 2001. Because we had an infant die in 2000, June 25th, 2000.
That's sad.
Yeah. And I didn't really put a timeline to everything till later on.
Later, yeah.
It all started. That's when it all started, the madness. You know, I drank my whole life, but the pill use and things like that, the drugs didn't start until 2000, 2001.
You know, like alcohol seems to be, it's like a slow burn. You know, when people die from alcohol, you know, they drink themselves to death. But once you put drugs on it, one of my friends says, when you add drugs and alcohol or drugs and drugs, it's not addition, it's multiplication. So like when you do that, it speeds up the process so fast, you know, because I ended up in recovery, or I've been in and out of recovery my whole life, but I ended up getting sober when I was 24. But I also had a needle in my arm for the last 5 years. So it speeds it up, you know, it definitely, your bottom starts becoming faster and faster and faster. I mean, the first time I ever did meth, within 3 weeks, I had gave up my vehicle, my home, and lost my job in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, when you drink, my father drank, he's been drinking for 30 years and he still wakes up. I mean, the worst implications is he does something crazy at night sometimes and he wakes up later than he used to wake up with a hangover, you know. But I mean, it's gonna over time get to him. You know, he doesn't understand the implications that he probably can't drink. He doesn't even understand, you know. He's just like, I've been drinking for 30 years. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So, but it's a slow burn situation. With the drugs, it definitely speeds it up.
Yeah.
And you start easing into crime a lot. It's for me versus drinking. I mean, you might drink and drive, get in a bar fight, domestic situations, stuff like that. But the drugs seem to put you more into the street life, for sure.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I wonder if it's because of the money involved. It takes more money to supply you know, to feed your habit. Yeah. Like with me with the opioid pills, obviously you can't just buy them in the grocery store. Now you can, basically, the 7-ohm and all that. Yeah. They sell at the street corners, but which is crazy to me.
That's wild.
It's crazy that you can still do that they hadn't banned that yet here.
It's all over. Everybody that hits me up on TikTok or whatever, social media, to get, probably half of them are on 7-OH or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I've got clients that say, I'm on kratom extract. I say, brother, it's not kratom extract. That's not what you're taking, you know. It's what they're telling you it is, but that's not what it is. I mean, it's a derivative, yes, but it's something totally different.
A lot of people don't understand what's going on until they try to get off of it. Yeah, and it latches onto you bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never mess with stuff like that. I really try to do I did real street drugs. Like if you couldn't buy it from a drug dealer, I don't want it, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny. I'd say, thank God I never came across heroin, you know?
Yeah.
Thank God, because I would have been dead because, you know, dosing wise, you know, I don't know how anybody does it, you know, because you're always going to want more and more and more.
You do. It's the same as pain pills in the sense you get used to it. A lot of people die from heroin prior to fentanyl. Fentanyl was coming out right towards the end of my addiction process. But prior to that, I was on heroin for a long time, and people would, only when they would go to treatment and then come back and then they would be sober.
Try to use the same amount.
Try to use the same amount.
Yeah.
That's usually when they would pass away, not when they would, Not when they would like be using it all the time.
Yeah.
You would have to use like a great deal amount to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've only heard of one person dying as just like an everyday user. And what's crazy is drug addicts, heroin addicts, junkies, literally when they heard about it, they meandered to that side of town to try to find that whoever was selling it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wanted to find that dope. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I never did. I mean, I did coke, but never meth, never LSD, lots of ecstasy.
Yeah, it shows.
That just hit Nashville.
In the 90s.
Yeah, 89, 90.
Yeah.
90 was big in 90. That's pretty much when he got here.
Someone told me that they used to sell ecstasy in the back of like Playboy magazine.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Like as a designer drug or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have to look that up. It's something I heard.
Well, I was working in a bar in downtown Nashville in 85. That was during the Escobar times.
Yeah.
And the big coke stuff. So you can imagine what that stuff was like coming into Nashville.
All the white people could dance.
Yeah, exactly. I remember my first time I was in an elevator, a closed elevator. It was shut off. You had to pull back paneling to get to it. And it was in a building on 18th and West End. And we were in the bottom. It was a basement. It was a really popular bar in Nashville, but there was a high rise. And this guy named Fuzzy took me into the elevator. That was his name, Fuzzy. Yeah, that was the first time I ever used it. And I'm like, I've arrived. This is it. This is what I want to do forever. So what I thought the very first time I used it.
It does something to you.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I'm younger, so 2005, let's say, I started, probably before that, 2004. The cocaine wasn't that good, So you would probably out of 100 times, 10 times I found like really good cocaine, But it made me feel dirty. Not like a dirty person, but it made me feel like I was always chasing it. Where the meth felt like I had arrived. Like once I did one time I did meth the first time, and I felt like I was floating.
Yeah.
And then like I never even, for 3-4 days, I never even was like, I need more. I just was like, I feel great,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going through a depressive time in my life. Like it was probably the only time I've ever been in a depressive state. But I mean, the depressive state was like maybe like 7 or 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through a breakup. And when I did that, I had I just like, it turned me into like from a lazy person to like, on Friday I did it. And on Monday morning at 8 a.m. I had like a trailer full of metal and steel and aluminum at the scrapyard at 7 a.m. And I was like, I literally have been sleeping for 8 days straight to the person that was like ready to go. It actually, I think it changed the way I move and operate, because I still operate very like high performing,
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, I was like still operating in like teenage brain, where I was like not a go-getter, sleeping till 10, It changed the way I move.
When you did the meth, did you stay awake for days?
Yeah, you have different type of tweakers, but you have people that like to do certain things, You have people that literally they enjoy like poking themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like they like then you have people that like to isolate, color, do tattoos, so like really like draw skulls and like tweak out. Then you have people that are like, very rare you find this person, but like people that like to be like very out there, I was a very out there tweaker. Like I want to go to the bar. I'm going to go
social.
Very social.
Yeah.
And very talkative. And I like to stay up. Like some people would stay up like 3 days, 4 days. I would stay up like 6, 7 every time. Cause I like, maybe it was like, I've always thought about like, maybe I was like in a spiritual fasted state. Cause you really are like, you don't eat, you're staying up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I enjoyed, like I didn't even want to eat, because when I would eat, I would feel like suppressed and down. I didn't want to do anything other drugs like smoke weed or
Mm-hmm.
any of those things because it would bring me down. And I wanted to stay up, you know. I wasn't like out of control, tweaking, doing weird stuff. I just was up.
So is that your favorite one?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's my favorite one. I don't know. I hope. Yeah.
But, you know, Coke was the only thing I was able to sit down, never touch it again. And it was a fluke. It was a fluke.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I set it down. Yeah.
Yeah, we were at Steeplechase. You know what Steeplechase is? It's the big horse race they have in Bellevue every year
Okay.
in May. And I gave some guys some money to go get an 8-ball. And I just met my ex-wife. And she liked to drink some, but other than that, she was pretty straight and narrow.
Normal. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the game plan was they were supposed to meet me back at my apartment. And then we're all going to go out and party. We were going to mix it up. And we were going to go out. Well, you know how people get lost sometimes when they've got your money and they got they got lost. And so she got there before they did. And there was no way I was going to be able to go to the back room. And so I went and I said, y'all just keep it. And I never touched it again. It was the last time. That would have been May of 95.
Really?
Just set it down and never touched it again. Yeah.
Hmm.
At that point, pain pills wasn't even on my horizon at that point.
They weren't really 95. They were very limited. I mean, they were out there, but like what, Meprigan or like very like.
Well, when I got my first computer in probably 97.
Yeah.
The very first, I promise you, the very first thing it wasn't even called Google then, it was something else. First thing I searched was Vicodin. First thing I put in the search engine was Vicodin because I knew what they were because I had a friend of mine who was a doctor who used to bring me samples and extras or whatever. And so I would take them from time to time, but never consistently. And so I found out you could have them overnight sent to your front porch, FedEx next day delivery. And that started that whole
off to the races.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. And man, talking about, I could tell you so many stories about miracles that happened. I had UPS managers in downtown Nashville hunting for a package on Christmas Eve, thinking it was an engagement ring for my wife, and it was a bottle of pain pills.
They come up when I first started working at UPS. They still ship medication through the VA or whatever. And when the first week I was there, people were getting fired because they were opening those because you could tell which ones are which. They changed it up now where like you can't the VA medicine. I mean, you have to be more crafty. Also, every package has like a scan on it, so you know who was touching it last. There's more security around what's going on. Yeah.
It used to be, yeah.
Yeah. They're, I was thinking you asked me, was it my favorite? And I was like, I don't like that, but it was my favorite. But, one thing I learned when I got to AA is that I was running from the alcohol. Like, because my dad's an alcoholic and it made me feel a certain way. Like, it made me like feel the way I wanted to feel, but I didn't want to become him, so I ran from it. And then I don't know how I ended up with the meth situation, but like it was really hard for me to identify in AA. Like that was one of my first questions to my sponsor. Is like, I'm not sure if I'm an alcoholic or drug addict. He's like, are you willing to figure out, try, are you willing to read to page 39? And I was like, yeah. One thing I had to realize is like, what qualifies you for an alcoholic is like, well, once you drink, you're going to drink more. Like you don't have control over. And then, every alcoholic would go, well, there's that one time I went to the bar and I drank a beer and was also very high. So,
Right.
Yeah. And then like that deep down, the second part is that deep down, there's an obsession within me that thinks that somehow, someday I'll be able to drink successfully. And that was there, for sure. Where with the meth, I know that it's literally insane. I'm not going to be able to successfully do meth ever. I'm not going to be able to do meth and go to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but deep down, I thought that I could manage my life long enough to get successful enough that I would be able to drink successfully and it wouldn't matter, you know? And that's kind of what had to flicker. That's why I ended up in AA, because we had to like stub that flame out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that was burning inside of me. And, you know, deep down in every alcoholic is the fundamental idea that they can beat the game, you know,
Mm-hmm.
some concoction in some town with some girl, you know, whatever it is that we think we can beat it.
Right.
Yeah. But it's hard. Like, I probably drink 10 times in 5 years prior to landing in AA. So it was hard to really understand and identify that I'm an alcoholic, because, I mean, those times I lost complete control. Usually became dangerously antisocial and usually put my hands on people, or isolated to a point where I drink days on end. But it was only 10 times, you know, versus, you know, you get the other way. Well, I drink twice a day, you know, I drink 2 drinks a day, and you go, well, they can be an alcoholic too. It's how you feel about the alcohol. It's how you react to it, not necessarily the amount you're taking. Some people drink every day and are not alcoholics, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that they are confused around that they could separate themselves from it. It's a little bit, you know, but are they alcoholic? Do they feel like I do about it?
Yeah.
Do they react the way I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister can drink alcohol and we feel different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I asked her early on, like, she had drank some wine in front of me. And I was like, how do you feel? She's like, I just feel like watching this movie and going to sleep. And I was like, that is not how I would feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would immediately drink that whole bottle.
Be wanting the next drink. Yeah.
I want the next drink and I want to go somewhere.
Right.
It makes me energetic. It's not a depressant for me, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
It makes me like come alive. It pulls me out of my shell, I think. Yeah. I think alcoholics and drug addicts have a very big problem, like coming out to play, like being themselves, like being with their inner child, being like okay. And that's why we're using the drugs or alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to a recovery event and people, like a dance recovery event, like a homecoming or a dance or whatever, all the young people in recovery, they'll be like on the side, you know? And then you got people that have 20 years, they're like dancing and don't care because they're kind of like found freedom in their life.
Right.
Yeah. But everybody else is like, they just don't know how to be okay.
Right.
Yeah. They think everybody's judging them. And, you know, that's what the alcohol and drugs did for them. It's allow them to come play, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when I first became a therapist, I had a lot of people that came to me with, and I saw in their intake, it was they had a problem with alcohol, in some shape or fashion, right?
Yeah.
And I automatically thought they should stop drinking. I didn't know any, right?
Yeah.
I thought, well, they've got a problem with alcohol, they should be abstinent, right? And I was getting some pushback from people.
From the client.
Yeah, from the
Well, I'm
client.
sure you were, but
And my supervisor said, not everybody wants to stop drinking. Some people just want to moderate or cut back, and I couldn't wrap my head around that as a person in AA.
in recovery, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
But what you just talked about, that could be some people. So I learned about harm reduction, and I never even knew what harm reduction was. And in therapy, that's what that means. That means helping people cut back or moderate,
Navigate what they're going
cause less harm physically, mentally, socially, whatever. And I'm still not sure that works. I like the medical model of AA. I like that. I think that what AA says about alcoholism is real, is true. All right. I don't think that like in the doctor's opinion, I agree with that.
Yeah, but they also talk about, different classifications of alcoholics and then different classifications of non-alcoholics.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, you have 5 classifications of alcoholics, and then you have the non-alcoholic, the hard drinker.
Given a sufficient reason to quit, they can quit.
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
My dad quit because my mom said she'd leave him if he ever drank again.
Yeah.
That's what he told me. He never went to. He went to one AA meeting when he got out of detox. He only drank for 3 years. Never knew him to drink before or after. He died 10 years sober.
My mom had a spiritual experience, spiritual awakening after being on drugs for 20 years. Boom. Never drank, used again. Had a relationship with God. No AA, no nothing. Just like a spiritual experience, like what you would hear about in varieties of religious spiritual experiences, that book or whatever. And then she came home and told her husband, hey, I'm going to go to the store. This is what happened. When I get back, if there's drugs in this house, then you aren't going to be here. And he snapped his fingers and they never used drugs again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's different forms of recovery and how people find that in their life. And it's been hard for me, like a journey to understand people are different, you know?
Yeah, and also when you learn about neuroplasticity, you know, also the rewiring of the brain. But
just so we're clear, this is a guesstimate. Like neuroplasticity means that there's flexibility between your brain, left and right brain. Is that?
no, basically neuroplasticity is our brains are made of plastic, basically.
Okay.
And when we're using or drinking, it rewires itself. It wires itself a certain way that keeps bringing us back to those drugs and alcohol. Okay.
So new creating
new pathways.
Ability to create new pathways.
Right.
Okay.
So when we get off of it, they heal themselves. Right. The brain does, but where my problem comes in a little bit with some of the people that don't like to be labeled, you know, is that just because your brain heals, where are you starting over from? All right. So my brain healed. Now, is this the way it looked before I used the very first time?
No.
If you know, and so I'm wondering, does my brain heal, but I still have the same thoughts, you know, the same inferiority, the same insecurities, and all, you know, all that, just because my pathways have healed.
Well, a lot of people look at, like, in the clinical or therapeutic model, people are really starting to edge towards like the trauma model where, like, yes, we could recreate new pathways, but the trauma's still there. So we're going to react in a different way. Like, we're going to cope in a different way, no matter what. Like, it's kind of addictive, you know, addiction. Like, I might set down the drugs, but I pick up the credit card. But I might set down the credit card, but I pick up the fork, you know? Mm-hmm. It's still that thing inside of me. It's like trauma induced, you know?
It is.
It took me a long time to really get with the trauma thing, but I mean, I do kind of see it more now than I ever have.
Well, and you may have already told you this once before. There's a book out called TINSA, Trauma-Induced Sexual Addiction. Okay, TINSA.
Okay.
It explained how addiction works better than anything I've ever heard.
Okay.
It starts at birth, with attunement. Okay. Are you properly attuned with your mother, your caregiver, ever who your caregiver is?
Yeah.
You know, that
Usually
goo goo gaga mirroring, that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So addicts are not. Okay. Then in the toddler stage is where that's where you gain your attachment style. You've heard of attachment styles, right?
Sure.
Insecure and secure.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Disassociated or secure, insecure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You got anxious, you got avoidant, you got disorganized, ambivalent. But you develop an insecure attachment style as a 6 to 18-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So lack of attunement, insecure attachment style. Then when you're 10 years old, you're a boy, and you get bullied at school, and you come home, you're crying to your dad. I got bullied, and your dad says, "Stop crying.
Just suck it up.
Big boys don't cry. Man up."
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, you start thinking, "Whoa, he doesn't like me like this, so I need to change." So this is where you lose your authenticity, all right? And
Okay.
it's all about authenticity. If you see any of my lives or anything, I talk about the authenticity all the time. So you lose your authenticity, so you kind of go through life like a chameleon, right?
Sure.
Fitting in everywhere, but you feel like you don't fit in anywhere, right?
Okay.
So then what happens next is you meet a person, a partner, you get married.
You destroy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you find that there's no intimacy, right?
Yeah.
Not the sex part and all that. You can hold hands, you can hug and all that,
Yeah, but the true vulnerable companionship.
because you can't be if you're not authentic.
Correct.
So what the sex, and this applies to all addictions though. I mean, if you could relate to anything I just said,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
it sums it up.
I mean, my question is I'm on board with all that. I understand exactly what you're saying, but I guess I would, for playing devil's advocate to the scenario, is aren't all children at some point unattuned to their caregiver, and aren't all children in their toddler phase have some type of attachment style break? Like it creates some type of insecure attachment style of some kind. I mean, it's very rare that you're going to find a human that's not traumatized in the first 3 or 4 years of their life. And then it's probably very rare that you're going to find someone in their adolescent, 10 years old, that they were not overlooked, abused, treated poorly, and it affected them at a grand scale level in a trauma throughout their life.
I know what you're saying.
I think though that, like, yes, I think the solution for us is what the addiction is, what you're saying. Like, instead of like a healthy person that would go through those things would like deal with them like on a human level, maybe go to therapy or like learn how to have a secure attachment, where we start to put things inside of our body to make us attuned to the world. Pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's all about the dopamine. At the end of the day, it's about the feel good drug that drugs, alcohol, porn, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the hit. That's why we do drugs or drink in the first place. It's all about the dopamine.
I've noticed that, like, in my life, that the external substance is what makes me react differently. Like, that's what makes me, that's the shortcut I'm looking for. Like, the other stuff doesn't change my mind or make me feel a different way. There's like some coping or whatever to that, but like if you start doing cross addiction processing, like where you're like, let's say a sexual or porn or whatever, it doesn't make me feel the same way that heroin makes me feel, or nicotine makes me feel, or amphetamines or alcohol. Like, those things make me, it seems that I have like a substance abuse disorder than like I can find myself like easing into like other things that are like coping, but it seems that I have a lot more control over it. Those things don't take my whole life, you know?
Yeah, but I think if you didn't have anything else, you'd gravitate towards that, though, you know?
If I didn't have anything else.
Yeah. Like, if you didn't have anything in the world to cope except for porn,
Okay.
then you'd look at porn.
Sure. Like, it would just, like, if I couldn't eat or.
Yeah, and it's just
it's
just self-soothing is all it is. It's
sure,
at the end of the day, it is all about coping.
Yeah.
You know,
How do normal people cope? That's what I need to know.
what's normal?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's normal?
I just know that I'm not it.
Yeah, I think they just don't go to, if you're talking about normal, they don't have the extreme highs and lows. I think they just have general problems that they fix with deep breathing and meditation and things like that, things that everybody should use, but they just don't have the extreme highs and lows that we have, or that I have. Let's put it that way. I can't say we.
I've noticed over time, and you know who Richard Rohr is? You ever heard of him? He's a religious, kind of a religious, spiritual writer. He's a Franciscan monk, priest. But he writes about Christianity a lot. But in the way that he writes about it, it's kind of like attacking it from the inside. And a lot of people that are Christian leaders don't like him. But he has this concept that he has spoke on. It's called falling upward. And I really, like, once I read it, I was probably 6-7 years sober. But it really understood that, like, my emotional sobriety was kind of, you know, the first year you're like, when you're in recovery, you're like kissing babies and shaking hands, and like you're having this spiritual uplift, and like everything is like beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seemed like year 2, it just kind of, you start to kind of take control of your life, and you think I got it, and life starts to happen. And then it seemed like every time, like year 2, I'm on my knees at my home group when no one's there, begging God to like take over my life again, you know. And year 2 was really hard for me, but I was so afraid to like fall that I was just scared to death that I was going to crumble and I was going to use again, you know. And then when I came out of that, it's like, seems like this is like the pure form of like having a relationship with God, that I would come out of this thing in a uprising, like with this burst of energy, and like kind of shaking hands and kissing babies and getting new sponsees, and like really being on tune. And then like I'm in this ego spot that I hang out, and then I go back down, and then year 3, and then, you know, like what I've learned is like, I kind of had the grasp of this situation prior to him reading this book, but he talks about falling upward and being like okay with like almost like wanting to dive into it instead of being afraid that I'm going to crack, like understanding that God's got me no matter what, that the falling upward, like kind of like the gist is the more times I could fall, the less I'm scared, and I kind of get more like an equal emotional sobriety or a spiritual state where I'm just like more apt to surrender to God than to be an egomaniac for so long, you know. Because once God touches my life, it seems like it's great, 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 and then I just take the steering wheel back, you know. But I've learned to like over time to kind of be more apt to just let him be more in control. It's hard sometimes.
Were you already in touch with God before you got sober?
No. Which is, I think, a good thing. I mean, I've read a lot of literature and I've sponsored a lot of men, and I understand that when I sit down with somebody that knows God, it's harder. How do I teach you, especially if they have like a sect religion that they're like, nah, this is it, you know? So when I'm talking to them, it's like, they're like, no, I have God. I'm like, well, if you have him, that's good. Let's erase all prejudice. So you can't have him for 10 minutes, you know, and like, we're going to restructure. And if he's really there, he'll be there in 10 minutes, you know. Usually it's longer than 10 minutes, but like, how do you let go of prejudice and still have it, you know? So like, it's really hard for them to get that concept. Where for me, when I accepted God in my life for the first time, it was like spoon feeding a child, like spiritual terms. And like, when I grabbed it, it was like very new. So it was a different experience for me, which I've had to learn how to like experientially walk through that a little better than, because I grabbed it so fast, you know? But I have noticed that when I do the steps and like when I do spiritual work, like I have noticed, like I've been around recovery long enough and spiritual people long enough to know that like when I do something, it seems different than a lot of people around me. It's very experiential. Like when I'm doing step 2, let's say I'm doing it this year or whatever, like I'm doing it. Like I'm with it. Like I'm literally letting go of all prejudice. I'm literally like thinking honestly. I'm searching diligently. I'm like bringing myself to a childlike state so I can experience God at like the least biased level as possible. When I'm doing step 3, like I'm giving complete control of my utter life over, and which is like, it's not something I'm writing on a piece of paper, you know, it's a little different. And I've noticed that like I experience it different than some people.
Yeah. Do you think that people that grew up in church and always had church just kind of stopped relying on God? So I've always had God, but you know, the ones that are using, people that are active alcoholics, like, well, I've always had God. Well, they've just not leaning on him, right? They just stopped relying.
I think they've given their life to God, but not their will. Like I'm going to heaven, I'm with God.
Yeah.
But everything in between is fine.
Yeah.
And I know that they know that I'm like, I've turned my back. They just think they need to turn around back to God. They say that stuff. Like, I think I need to I've just turned my back on God.
Right.
Which is true, but they also have to like turn over all their decisions to God. And that's where it's hard to, because they would just go, well, I just need to turn around and look at him, you know?
Yeah. And somebody knew that you can direct them all
In a certain way.
Yeah, kind of like my experience. Well, in a way, you know, I went to a private Church of Christ school for 11 years, but didn't believe the Bible. You know, I had so many contradictions in there to me, and I was a cynic by nature, and you know, I wanted to
A what?
a cynic. You know,
Oh,
cynical.
cynic, yeah.
And I wanted to pull things out and say, well, what about this? What about this?
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
me.
Yeah. And so, you know, when I got sober, I had a white light experience, if you will. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it was it lack of oxygen to my brain? Was I dying? I don't know what happened. Right. All I know is that I walked different when it was all said and done.
Yeah.
I didn't have, it was over. That
different.
day it was over. I never touched another drug or drank since. It was over that day. So what happened? I have no idea. Was I praying that day? I don't know. I don't remember. All I remember is I had blackout curtains on my windows because I used to work nights. Then I remember the room getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And then I literally woke up 3 days later in Vanderbilt, and I'd been there. They had me under for 3 days. And I came out of it and never, I mean, the rest is history. That was March 15th, 2012. And what changed? Now, I didn't become this religious zealot or anything like that. But what did happen, what I used to call coincidences, I started calling miracles, things that shouldn't happen in my life. And, you know, like we earlier we was talking about how I got sober in the first place. What led me to eventually stay sober, right?
Yeah.
Was a 25-year prison sentence. Okay. And which was a reality. There's no way out of it. There's no way out of it. There were no pleas. There was no way out of it. And so I thought. And I went into AA and started. This was after I woke up in Vanderbilt. Okay, this is when I was trying to stay sober because I did not want to detox in prison or in jail. So I wanted to make sure I stayed off of everything, right? Mm-hmm. And then, 3 times the DA didn't show up in court. One time we even subpoenaed the arresting officer. We subpoenaed him, and he was in Gatlinburg that day. So my attorney says we have two choices. We can have it dismissed with prejudice, or prejudice is the one where they can retry you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have it dismissed with prejudice. I said, what's that mean? He said, well, if they want to, they can recharge you. Those no plea bargains, anything going forward, or we can just ask them for a misdemeanor. And I said, so what does that mean? He said, you just do probation for a year and it's behind you. And I said, what would you do? He goes, you want this over with today? I said, yeah. He goes, let's ask them for a misdemeanor. So I went there and sat down. He wasn't gone 10 minutes. It was already done. I'm convinced it was already a done deal. He came back and he goes, they took it. I'm like, oh, really? So that was a miracle.
Yeah.
That was a miracle, in my opinion. I mean, there's no way I could have got out of that. And
yeah.
And then they found out, then I realized they wanted money. They wanted me to buy my way out. And so I told them, I said, I can't do it. Y'all put me in. I'll just do time. I can't afford what y'all are asking. And they go, well, go call your wife, see what she thinks about it. So I went and called my wife. She goes, we'll find the money. I walked back in, and they'd already cut it in half. The amount of money I owe, they cut it in half, which was doable. So that was another miracle. It's like, no way I could pay for it. I was going to jail. No way I could pay for it. And it was just one thing after another. And so I started thinking, I even remember, okay, God, let's see if you can get me out of this one. I remember saying that walking down the road. And so that's just the way it happened.
Yeah.
And so I never I don't go to church or anything like that, but I have a close personal relationship with God every morning, every night, and in between. Just depends on what's going on in my life. I would direct all my clients to, if they believe in God, to pray and meditate in the mornings. Like we do in AA, ask God to direct your day. Thy will be done, not mine. That's what I do every morning. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I had a similar experience with the legal system. Not 25 years, but I had a similar experience where it just, no, this couldn't have happened. I was on like a year probation, which turned into a 3-year probation because I violated, because I couldn't do it, because I just evaded all responsibility at all times. And I had turned myself into jail, which was weird. And then I argued with the judge to let me lay it down for 3 years. And he sent me to treatment begrudgingly. I did not want to go. And he sent me, I had a experience there that I was not looking for, but I was prepared in my life to do whatever's the hardest thing, I'm going to do that thing. That's the only thing I knew that I was going to do. And that's how I ended up in jail, turning myself in. That's how then I went to treatment. And then when I got out, I went to AA, which was I'm going to just, instead of making the easy choice, I'm going to make the right choice. Mm-hmm. And then when I ended up in AA, I was having like a spiritual experience. And I was going to turn myself in, or going to my probation appointments, and like 5 months in, 6 months in, the worst probation officer in that county, like, this lady is mean. Nobody wants her. Mm-hmm. She was on my case for a long time because I had ran on that probation, mm-hmm. which was an easy probation. It was a year, I don't know how I turned it into a 3, but I went there to report, and she said, I'm going to let you off probation. And I said, I need that in writing. And she said, no problem.
Wow.
She said, let's walk upstairs and talk to Judge Brock. And we walked upstairs, and she said, do you remember this guy? And he goes, I do. And then we talked about, they could see it on me. They could see the change, and they let me off probation. Signed the paperwork that day to release me off complete probation. And I was like, there's no way, Mm-hmm. It was just a weird situation. I mean, things like that are righted all the time if you're doing the right thing.
I almost forgot a really important part of all this. I'd been regular in AA for a year, going sober. I'd been in AA for 20 years, but regular going and sponsoring people, doing the walking the walk.
Yeah.
And like I said, even though I got my fines and things cut, restitution, I still owed a lot of money. And so I was going to see if they would cut my fines or do away with my fines, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So I went to the county clerk and I asked the girl, and she literally looked at me and she giggled. And she handed me this piece of paper and said, "Good luck with that." That's what she said to me as she handed me the piece of paper. So I went down to the court and Judge McFarland was down there, right?
Yeah.
So I go up there and I'm standing there and he said, he looked at me, you know who I'm talking about, Judge?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, he's looking at my paperwork. He goes, "Let me get this straight." He said, "You originally had 11 felonies that we reduced to 2 misdemeanors. And you're going to come in my courtroom and ask me to drop your fines?" He goes, "So well, tell me what's changed in a year." That's what he said. And I went, "Okay, here we go." And I told him. And you know how the police sit in the back of the courtroom in little benches? Everybody was giving me thumbs up. And like, you could just see the looks on people's faces as I was telling my story. And he looks at me and he goes, "Tell you what," he goes, "it really wouldn't be fair if I just dropped all your fines." He goes, "But how about if I cut them in half for you?" I said, "Thank you, sir."
Walked out immediately.
I turned around and people were clapping.
Dude, that's awesome.
They were doing that. And it's just, it was all true.
Yeah.
It was all true. He goes, "Well, tell me what's changed in a year." That's what he said. And I was ready for it. Yeah. And so that's another one of those miracles. I was able to go write a check that day and get off probation. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
It was in, and I, all that's expunged now. And I couldn't be doing what I'm doing today if you can't have anything on your record at all. So to become a licensed therapist, you can't even have literally a speeding ticket. You'll have to write a letter if you have a speeding ticket on your record while you were breaking the law, And because I had something come up from Crossville, I didn't even know the county when I applied for my temp license, and I'm like, I don't even know what this is. And it was I got arrested for driving without a license going through Crossville.
Did you not have a license on you, or you didn't have a license?
Nah, I actually went there that day to get my license reinstated.
Okay.
But I didn't have a certified birth certificate. So I went from a revoked license to just no license at all. So I had my paperwork with me in the car, and the policeman said, "If you would show me this first," he goes, "I would let you go." He goes, "I can see you're telling me the truth." He goes, "But I've already called it in." So luckily my car was secured off the side of the interstate, and they left it there and took me to this little rinky-dink jail. Their bail bondsman was on site.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
Yeah. So I gave him $80, bonded out. He asked the magistrate, he goes, "What do you mean do with him?" He goes, "Where's his car?" He said at 234. He goes, "Take him back to his car." That's what he did. I said, "Wait a minute now. Y'all just arrested me for driving and you're taking me back to my car." That's what they did. They took me back to my car, and I drove on to Knoxville. And isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And so that popped, but I already had it dismissed. So they sent a letter, showed that, which is good. You don't want to be dealing with people's lives if you got a criminal record, of course.
That's true.
But they know before I got into all this, I had to write a letter, a note, like to get into graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
I told everything. I told them everything, and they let me in.
Yeah. I've only ever been welcomed with anything in my life, just being completely honest in who I am,
Yep.
you know, and it's always worked out better for me, honestly.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that are doing therapy like in Nashville area they don't even have a license. I think they do it because they are charging an aggressive rate. They're like considering themselves like life coaches. They're
life coaches. Yeah,
they void their licensure. Like they void it, unrenew it or whatever. And then they charge an excessive amount and they life coach instead. There's a whole population doing that.
I've seen a trend on TikTok of therapists changing to life coaching, but I've looked into the legality of it. As long as you change your informed consent, like you have a totally different informed consent and policies and procedures.
What about the pricing though?
I don't know anything about the pricing. I do know they charge an enormous amount of money.
Yeah.
Because they do groups. I know a guy who is a sober coach online who charges $4,000 for a 12-week program. And I don't know how many is in his group, but he fills up all the time.
That's not super astronomical, but I mean, you know, if it's effective.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these people I've heard in Nashville are charging like, you know, $5,000 a session. Now the session might be, you know, a whole weekend, an intensive or whatever, but that's how they operate. But as a therapist, you can't charge like.
That sounds like DBT stuff.
Well, DBTs, would you say?
Dialectical behavioral therapy.
Well, a lot of them, I mean, some of them are like that, but I've done, like the intensive I went to was, what's a mix, but it's like psychotherapy and, what's the word? Experiential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I like the psychotherapy. It's something I've seen that usually I can get, like, it seems to connect for me. The experiential was very new and different and weird, but it sticks with you longer. Seems different than I don't know. You ever looked into any of that?
Yeah,
stuff?
I've sent some clients to those places before.
Have you ever done any training on experiential?
No, not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, I do experiential things.
Yeah,
but,
like small segments.
Yeah, but I know those week-long programs.
Like on-site that's where I went.
Yeah, that's the one that I send people to. I hadn't done it in a while. It's been like 3 years, but I've sent a couple of people with trauma there.
It's good.
One person had religious trauma.
They have actual like a 90-day program too, like a trauma-induced 90-day. I don't know how expensive it is, but
yeah.
I mean, the place I went, or the one I did was an intensive, and it was expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're with a therapist 6 or 7 hours a day, and then you're doing groups. Some groups, maybe 3 groups with people 3 times a day. I mean, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, I've considered when I see people online doing it, but honestly, I don't have time to switch over to life coaching because I have a private practice.
Yeah,
and also work part-time at an agency. I saw 39 clients last week. I can't fit.
Dang.
Yeah, I can't fit anything else into my day. You know. I'm barely able to, to create the TikTok videos, or go live every now and then, and I make a good living doing what I charge. So
I don't think they're doing it for like the extra money. I think they're doing it for their quality of life and the quality of the patient life. Like, I think that's their motive. Cause like, okay, I could spend one weekend with one client and then I'm off for a week. I make the same appropriate amount of money, but I can really focus on that one client.
mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different. Now that life coach thing that the guys, they're in classes, they're probably in class so many days a week or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's a little different, probably a little more extensive on
Yeah.
the therapist or life coach themselves,
Yeah.
Yeah. But it seemed like therapists do that on-site thing. They come in on Friday morning and then they leave Monday midday,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just like with that client pretty much that entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You seem to be able to clear a little bit more ground in that model a little bit.
Well, that's the way DBT works. Real DBT.
Yeah.
Like, and it's very expensive too. I think it's $500 an hour.
Explain DBT versus CBT or whatever.
Dialectical behavioral therapy is I'm not going to remember all these. Mindfulness, interpersonal effectiveness. I'm going to get caught on this one. There's
That's
four
okay.
of them, and I never can remember all four
That's
of them.
all right.
But what they do is they offer 24 hours a day texting and phone calls, okay? They offer group therapy. They offer one-on-one therapy. So when you do it, it's intensive, okay? So you have access to a therapist 24 hours a day through text message and so ever how long the DBT lasts. Like I'm halfway through DBT training. I stopped because life got in the way.
Yeah.
But DBT was originally created for people with borderline personality disorder. That's what it was created for.
Okay.
And so, like my therapist told me my supervisor, when I told her I was getting trained at DBT, she goes, "Well, you're going to get all the borderlines." And I'm like, "Well, great, and because it's difficult."
So, okay, just layman terms, I guess, CBT would be, I'm going to teach you how to think your way out of your problems.
Yeah, your negative cognitions.
Okay.
Where you sit and ruminate on negative things, we're going to reframe it.
DBT would be how
to deal with people. How
does the client deal with people?
Yeah, how to survive, how to
have interpersonal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was the two things you could
is
remember?
mindfulness, interpersonal effectiveness. I'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah,
I get stuck every time I get stuck on them.
Okay. Isn't DBT an older model, right?
I don't know how long it's been around, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, because emotionally, EFT, that's a newer thing.
Emotional regulation, that's the other one. The third was emotional regulation.
Emotional regulation, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's like, I guess over past 15 years, there's been just more and more models of therapy, I guess 15 years. Some people like respond to different stuff, like.
Yeah, I'm eclectic. Okay, I bring everything in. I'm not a talk therapist, but I'm also not a direct therapist.
A direct therapist would mean like you tell them.
Yeah, homework.
Got it.
You're constantly doing something. You have your treatment plan and you stick to it. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
And but I kind of go with the flow, depending on what's in front of me that day. I enjoy IFS work, internal family systems, parts language. Work, you ever heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
Confused the hell out of me when I first learned it.
Like that. That's one thing that could be hard for people, where it seems at first it was hard for me to understand, but over time I've learned that I can understand and get with it,
I've had more people go through boxes of tissues doing IFS than any other thing I've done. Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of women do IFS.
Yeah.
Which is, taking their mischief child and leaving them in a room in a safe space, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The men, perfectionism is a hot topic, like their perfectionism part.
Okay.
And
that part
that's they're over and which leads to OCD. So you got the perfectionism, and then the OCD would probably be the manager maybe.
Yeah. Trying to manage the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, but
you're
it's
talking
all,
about like the manager, firefighter. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Then you have the exiles, which are the hurt parts, the guilt, the shame stuff down that we're trying to keep away. All these other parts are protecting those, so they don't come out, and so it took me a while to wrap my head around it, but when I did, it just clicked one day. And so I really, really like IFS.
I like the psychotherapy stuff, which is, it could be IFS, it could be overlapped, but like, I've been in groups where they like brought out like a wood chair, and like, I'm like, oh God, it's about to get wild in here, somebody's about to talk to somebody's dead mom,
Yeah, that's just all.
or you like talk to, you, like the last one I did, well, not the last one, but like I was my mother talking to myself as an 8-year-old child.
I love empty chair.
It gets deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets real rough.
Yeah. I haven't used it a lot, but when I was in grad school, I thought I would. Like I really like Gestalt, that theory.
What is it?
Gestalt. And that's where
ALT?
Gestalt. Gestalt.
Yeah.
And I really, really liked it, the concept of it. And I really liked empty chair and thought I would use it more, but it doesn't really matter. It's been pretty powerful the times we have used it, or I've used it.
Yeah. I feel like as a therapist, sometimes you might, maybe me, I would just overlook it, or I would feel like it could be a little bit aggressive in the room, maybe.
It can be.
Yeah, like I seem to do the empty chair better in a group because maybe there's less pressure, like there's more, I don't know, like, okay, well, this person just went, I know I'm going next. It's like the whole like, but he did it, so I feel better about doing it. There's a big vulnerability in the room, versus me and a therapist in a room and a chair. It could feel, sometimes it could be hard to get in that chair, depending, like emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually use it for grief.
Grief, yeah.
Yeah, that's I have grief rituals. I've done a couple groups on grief.
Okay.
And it's not my favorite, but I know I still want to be helpful to people, because it comes up a lot, and have different rituals. You've heard, the letter writing and the grief, the grief box, where you put sentimental things in the box. It's just about letting go, learning to let go, doing the rituals. So, but there's lots of different, things to do with grief. I like empty chairs because you can say what you want to say.
Yeah. I did this thing. It's kind of like parts work, but it's this hula hoop thing. And it's experiential, but in and itself is parts work, kind of. But pretty much there's 3 hula hoops, and the client would get into, like, hey, can you get into hula hoop 1? And in hula hoop 1, like the therapist has like post-it notes or whatever. And one will be inner strength. The second one is your biggest fan. And then the third one is your higher power. So like I would step in, I stepped in to the inner strength one. And like, well, what do you think your inner strength is? Well, so I'm sitting there thinking, and I go, well, stoic, like stoicism, very calm, very strong. And then she writes it and hands it to me, puts it in my hand. This is where the experiential part is coming in, is like where I'm standing in the thing, but she hands me the piece of paper and I go, I don't like it. And she goes, what do you mean you don't like it? I go, you don't like the card, or you don't like that you're holding it, And I go, I don't think I need it. And she goes, well, what do you want to do with it? And I go, I don't know. I don't want it. And she goes, do you want to put it and so I decide I want to put it over there on the side of the room for the entire process of the weekend or whatever. So I take it, Matt stoic, put it over there. And then when I'm in that circle, she asked me more questions. I created another inner strength. And well, how does that help you with this process? Well, what does this thing want to tell you? What does this inner strength want to tell you? All these questions. And then like we moved to like the middle one and like my biggest fan. And then like, you know, my mom is my biggest fan. Well, what would your mom want to tell you, you know, about this weekend or about the process you're going through or about, you know, and then like a list of questions. But it seems the experiential model would be like it can ebb and flow in any form or fashion with the client. Like whatever I was feeling, I have choice in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I could step out of the circle. I could, you know, whatever I wanted to. And for me, like I felt it was a good exercise because when I stepped into higher power, well, what's your higher power? Well, my higher power is God. You know, there's a lot of choice in there. I didn't feel gridlocked. But when I stepped into that circle, I felt I was like moving around in the circle, you know. They were like,
I like that. Do you know what it was called? Because I've got 3 hula hoops in my office when I get there today, and I might look it up real quick and figure out.
I don't, but I can go through with.
Yeah,
I could find it.
Let me know. I can probably Google it or look it up on somewhere. But
probably
I
3
like
hula
that.
hoops experiential.
Yeah. I've got hula hoops in my room, and I'm thinking.
So when I get there in the higher power one, I was like, I don't like this circle. They're like, what do you mean? I just feel uncomfortable. Well, why do you feel uncomfortable? What would your higher power want to tell you? You know? And I was like, I feel uncomfortable because I feel accountable. You know, like in this part of my life, like I want grace. You know, like I've always been like really rigid in this circle, but at this moment in my life, I just know that maybe I just want to screw up a little bit, and I don't want that accountability. You know. So it was very like. You know how in recovery we do I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I do this with sponsees, the circle and triangle thing, where do you fit, recovery, fellowship, and service.
Mm-hmm.
Like where are you aligned?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of like, because there's been times in my life where the higher power, I felt perfect. Because really it's God, others, and myself. Like that's where am I aligning in those? And there's been times in my life where I felt good with my higher power, but I wasn't okay with myself. But in this time of my life, I feel really well with myself, and I really feel really well with my others, but I don't feel as okay with the God idea, and that's okay. I just want grace at the moment, you know?
Yeah. I don't do enough experientials. I got one I do called Your Emotional Acre. It's a drawing exercise you do with colored pencils.
You draw
the way I have a script I read, and it talks about the way we interact with people our whole lives, and so the first thing you do is you draw your fence, okay, around your acre. Like your piece of paper is your emotional acre. You can use it for wherever you want to.
Do you have to draw the fence?
That's the most important part. No, you don't. Actually, because that is your boundary, basically.
Correct,
that is what is anybody welcome on your land. So so I've never had nobody not draw one, but I've had them like draw
weird ones.
Yeah, like picket fence with a swinging gate, no lock on it.
Little available.
Yeah, anybody's welcome. I've had walls,
10-foot walls.
I'll tell you the craziest thing I've ever seen was done by a 9-year-old.
Really?
They spent 50 minutes on it. And I wasn't watching him till the very end. He drew a maze. The entire piece of paper was a maze, and right in the middle was his bedroom. And it had his bed, a video game, and a book.
Good luck as his therapist.
That was it.
Good luck as his therapist.
The whole page was a maze. I've got a picture of it somewhere. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
That boy's gridlocked.
Man, like nobody gets to him.
Yeah, he is.
He was letting me know right away. I'd never seen anything like it before.
Did you gain rapport with him?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. He didn't trust anybody.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, I saw him probably 3 months, but that's only 6 times,
Yeah, sometimes that's not enough time.
Yeah, I can't remember why they stopped coming, probably because of that, but He just didn't want to come.
My daughter's in therapy right now, and I was with a therapist for a year prior to that, and she would literally sit in that therapist's office and not say a word. The therapist finally just came to us and was like, I give up. This is pointless. And I called this other therapist. My friend referred me to somebody, and we went over there. And the first meeting, I'm not even sure if I was supposed to be in the room, but at first I was supposed to be in the room, but the whole therapy session, I was in the room the entire time. But my daughter really needs me to clear people. This person is okay. We trust them.
Safe.
Yeah. Verbally, she needs me to tell them, whisper, whatever. But before on the phone, I was like talking to him, and I was like, listen, I know you've been like a therapist, but this one here is this might be the hardest client you've ever had. She's rough. She's tough. But the first appointment went so well that
Good.
She's on like a 4th or 5th appointment, but you can tell she enjoys going. She's in control of the room, which at some point he's got to edge out of the Rapport department and more into well, what are we doing here, But at the moment, he's just gaining safety.
They just play games and stuff. We get board games or something.
Yeah,
To keep her
different stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
Which is good. I really believe, as a parent, I've always believed in. I think they call that a parallel, something like that. But if I want to talk to my son about sex, God, whatever, I would just be like, let's go for a ride or let's play baseball, and be like. If I want to talk to my child about my divorce, I'm like, okay, well, let's play baseball. During that, I might mention, well, how do you feel about what's going on, And then during that, it seems like they're not under, they're evade or they don't even understand what's happening to them,
Yeah.
I'm a real big proponent of that.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the way I don't use play therapy. I'm not a play therapist, but I do use play therapy. And that's the way you do in there. It can become distraction while you're asking them questions while they're at play, and they're not really thinking about
They're not on guard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
I do it with sponsees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I use it for that reason. Then I have board games that has therapeutic questions, so they have to talk. So I have a client who won't talk; they have to because they have to answer the question. But yet it also has to be a fun game. They got to want to do it.
Yeah.
And, I found that kids like rewards.
Yeah.
So I have a game that has chips. And it has, a dice and they move around the board. They seem to like that one better than the one where there's no winner and loser. They want one.
They want a winner and a loser.
Yeah. They want a winner and loser. So I have a couple of different go-to games I can go to with the kids that don't want to talk.
Do you do a lot of, I know you mentioned to me do you do mostly child or do you do adults?
I'm on the child and teen team at Refuge Center. And so more than 50% of my clients are kids.
Okay.
Probably in my private practice is about the same. Probably the majority of them are kids. Yeah.
Where's the refuge?
Franklin.
Yeah.
I don't have to be there at 2.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to be there at 2. I work there from 2 to 8 on Mondays.
Okay.
Yeah.
They do groups there too?
Yeah.
Like at night or whatever?
Yeah. We have summer groups. I ran a middle school group last summer. They're always doing some type of group. They encourage groups.
I think they do that at where she goes with Voices of the Heart, where Chip Dodd is. You know who he is?
Mm-hmm.
I think they do groups and stuff. I've seen group rooms.
If you're ever out there in Franklin, you need to. It's right by the convention center. You know the convention center in Franklin, right past it. So it's a block down from it. It's a $14 million facility that was built last year. It's enormous and it looks like a big clubhouse.
Is it just therapy? That's what's done there?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, we have 87 therapists there.
Whoa.
Yeah. We have walking trails in the back. Up top, we're a Christ Center facility. So up top, we have these 6 old wooden pews with a big cross for prayer. Off to the right is a wood-burning fireplace and with 10 chairs around it, then a gazebo, and then you can walk up the mountain. And along the path, they have the birdhouses that look just like the building. And you open it up, and you get a spiritual chip out of it, and you can read it. You can carry that chip up the mountain with you as you pray and bring it back down. You can either keep it or put it back in the birdhouse. Down the bottom level, it's a huge patio with a waterfall, a gas fireplace, and then a clubhouse. That's where we do our groups at, in the clubhouse. It's just amazing.
Is it just for children?
No.
Oh, no.
For everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's amazing.
Sounds nice.
It started out with 2 people, Amy Alexander, and I can't remember who her partner was. It was just them 2, 20 years ago. And they built it up to this. It's amazing what they've done.
Adding therapists and adding different levels and then being able to build the building.
That's why I'm still there.
Yeah, because it's so good.
Yeah, and I just went through a PCIT training I got for free.
Yeah, they do training there in-house a lot.
A lot of opportunities to get free training in. I didn't get free EMDR. I wish I had, but
Training or on you?
Get trained in it.
You might need to get it on you,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
I love EMDR. Like, I thought,
It's the go-to.
dude, I thought a bunch of woo-woo, you know? But the first time I did it,
It works.
I was like, it works.
Yeah, I do brain spotting.
Yeah,
It's a similar, but
similar thing.
yeah.
You know, when I left, I did it with this guy named Phil, but he had told me, he had said, you can put this music on in your vehicle and it does the same thing, bilateral stimulation music. And I'm like weirdly autistic. I've got a little better over the past year, but I listen to the same music. Like I listened to Remember When by Alan Jackson for a year straight, nothing else. Like, and then I added one song and then now I'm up to about 8. But he was like, when he told me that, I was like, you don't know who you're messing with. I'll be bilateral stimulation out, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I found it really effective.
I use bilateral stimulation along with meditation in some people, but I had one of my therapists told me it was dangerous for me to do that. And I said, why? She goes, well, what if somebody gets stuck? What are you going to do then? I'm like, I don't know. What am I going to do then? But I don't think anybody can get stuck if you're not going into deep trauma work, right?
Just like
you're just connecting the brain.
Like you're in meditation and then you go, okay, we're going to ease into EMD. That's what you're doing?
Well, we're doing meditation and then put the headphones on,
yeah.
And they're just going to listen to this waves, or whatever. Yeah. And they're just going to sit there and just listen to it. That's it. Just so they're getting the stimulation.
Oh.
Not necessarily do any trauma work.
Okay.
Just getting the left brain, right brain connected.
Have you ever done the EMDR yourself?
No.
Like the trauma work?
No.
Oh
No.
Man, you should try it.
Yeah. We were going to, me and my therapist, and we just never, for one reason or another, we just never did it.
The guy that did mine, he told me, I think he actually trains people. I think. Don't quote me on that, but he said that some therapists, which I thought was kind of cool, but bilateral stimulation happens when you walk and run naturally. And he said that there's some therapists, this hasn't been proven, I don't think, but some therapists think that, 80 to 100 years ago, we started driving cars and moving really fast. And they think that like some of the neuroticism and the mental health problems that we have in our life is directly correlated to us not walking, which makes sense. And it also makes sense that like, I've heard people say like a good marriage problem can be fixed with a 1 hour walk, because you're like walking through the problem. You're like literally like bilateral stimulating. Sometimes you don't even have to speak to your partner. You can maybe walk for 30 minutes and then
you wouldn't believe how many times I recommend that to people.
To walk, yeah. I think that walking is That's one thing I've noticed because I'm on that fast doing cardio,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate the 20-minute cardio, but I've got better, I'm bored doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm out of shape, it's I'm bored.
Right.
But I have noticed I've been able to I'm working some stuff out a little better in my head. It seems to.
Have you ever done the EFT stuff?
That's what I'm.
The tapping.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tapping.
I'm in EFT therapy, which is a different emotionally focused therapy or whatever.
Yeah. You haven't done the tapping?
No, that's a little different. This is more like identifying constantly.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling glad. I'm feeling
I
anger.
got you.
I'm feeling what do you need? Well, I need both. I don't feel like I matter. I want to matter. That stuff that I'm not good at.
Right.
Yeah. Feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of different self-soothing type techniques you can do.
I've done the tapping before, and then they do other stuff like just getting in your body.
Yeah, and rubbing arms.
Yeah. I did this thing. I actually invited this lady out. It would be probably cool in a group at the refuge. That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called playful movement. This lady's kind of like a weird art teacher thing, but it's not really therapeutic, but it is. I don't know how to explain it. But what she does is she plays music. Before that, she'll do, get into your body.
Mm-hmm.
But then she'll give you menu items of a group, say 20 people. You can walk, you can stand in a line, you can run, or you can pause. That was the first assignment. So you just have people walking around a room, running around a room, pausing, lining up. People just in the corner, just stay still. Then the next assignment would be kind of menu items, but following each other in dance that's what the model is. It's kind of like blackbirds, but when you move to the right, the next person would pick up the sequence, but you're just following them. So if they're moving their hand like this, you would be moving your hand like that. And then next she just starts to implement more of that. And then those groups would run into each other and then join other groups. It's kind of like art, movement, flash mob, kind of just playful movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one was you can do the line, you could do any dance move you want. You can run, pause, and then do a song. And then they just keep adding menu items to that. And you could see how a crowd would just become kind of out of their, playful with themselves. You could steal other people's moves. So
what is this for? What are they doing? What are they trying? What's the outcome?
I don't know, but when I was at that retreat, I thought, I am not doing that. That is the weirdest thing. And a lot of people opted out. And
Sounds strange.
I went in there, and it was one of the most effective things I did.
Really?
I invited her out to do it with the guys or whatever. But
yeah,
what is it doing? I think it helps you come out to play. It feels like your ability to just be yourself, have creativity. We spend a lot of time just being myself for real, being really logical, really in my brain,
right?
Where this seems to, even afterwards, I felt very open with myself, more available to do whatever and just be okay with it, instead of being
right.
Yeah, it was weird, but cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
I like hearing stuff like that. I'm always open for new things. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably the most weird thing at the retreat I went to, non-therapeutic, but it was therapeutic, you know? They did some other stuff, walk out to this labyrinth, and then we walk in the labyrinth. And
we have a big labyrinth at the refuge center.
Yeah. Do people leave stuff in the labyrinth? Stuff like that?
Leave in the center, yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't resonate, but some people were just really resonating with it.
Yeah, I usually have people either write a prayer or meditation.
And take it.
And and they read it or whatever silently and then walk the labyrinth ever how fast they want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That playful movement thing was cool. I don't know. I don't know how to like.
Yeah, must work.
I mean, there's certain things that I do that are inner child, play like, but most of them are related to sports, basketball, flag football, playing with my kids, baseball, stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But like dancing, doing cartwheels, you know, like stuff that kids would do, you know, like that's not me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed very effective. For every guest that comes on, the Powerful Beyond Measure is from a poem that is called Our Deepest Fear. And so every guest we ask, what is our deepest fear? And so I'm going to ask you, what's your deepest fear?
Whoa. You know, the first thing that comes to mind is failure.
Yeah.
And I think because I have worked so hard the last 10 years to get to where I am, that I don't want it to all be for nothing. You know, 7 years of straight of school, 3 years of supervision and direct contact just to get a license. And for something to happen and all that be for nothing, you know?
Okay.
So that's the first thing that comes to mind. Truth be told, the second thing that comes to mind is something happening to my wife.
Do you think that, you know, working 10 years on something and then being afraid that it's going to fall apart or whatever, you think that's like you don't feel that it's yours or you deserve it? Like something like that?
I think, yeah, good point. I think that because so many adult years of things falling apart, that even though I've come so far in sobriety and in my life, and I'm definitely not the same person I was,
Yeah.
I think that I'm always afraid that it could all happen again. You know, no matter how much work I put in, that it could all happen again. So,
Okay.
and
My ex-wife, my soon-to-be ex-wife, she talks a lot about like imposter syndrome.
that's what I was just about to say. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Do you think it's like that correlated?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't share that, but what I guess, you know, for me, I've built something in 10 years, you know, but a family, a life, you know, a business, and, you know, but I think my deepest fear is that I built this roller coaster and I don't know how to ride it successfully. Like that not that it'll crumble, that I don't know like how to get off. Like I was about 8-9 years into sobriety, 9 years, and dude, just instant anxiety. Never had it in my life.
Really?
Yep. And I couldn't deal with it. Like and what was happening is every night I had quit UPS, and like, I don't know, like I was thinking, well, I quit UPS, I got back surgery, and I got COVID. All during that time, something happened and I got anxiety. Like, and I don't know, like it could have been from the surgery, it could have been from
That's
COVID.
what happened. All three of
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. But I was like, maybe it was like from COVID, or, you know, like COVID wasn't bad on me. You know, it was just like a bad headache for 10 days.
But the thought that it could be, see.
Well, what happened was I found myself like leaving UPS. I have all this time, and then I would leave and go to work at Threshold for all these hours, and then I could go home at any time I want. I own the company. But here I am pulling in the driveway at 5 p.m. stressed out because I put 20 things on my plate and I didn't need to. I could have put one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to engage with my family and I'm not being able to because I'm still at work mentally. And at night I would lay up 10, 12, and I would have all this creative energy because I used to be so tired at UPS, and then now I have all this energy. And what would happen was I would just be on this roller coaster that I just could not get off. My brain, and not that I was like, it was not negative, it was positive. It was, but I would just be like, I just can't get off. I can go to sleep, and I had to learn how to develop like tools to, well, Matt, just go to bed at 9. Like, what are you doing? Just literally get off at 3. Like, I had to really like be purposeful about what I was doing with my life. And it seemed like prior to that, I could work 16 hours a day and never have a problem, But the fear is like that I'm creating this thing that I really don't want to be on. I'm building this piece by piece. I've been building this roller coaster, And then I look up in 8 years and I go, I don't want to be on this fucking thing. And like the fear was like, how do I get off? Do I destroy it? I mean, this was like, I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm going to like commit suicide, but like the thought was like, well, I could do that, Not that I want to. I enjoy my life. It's just like I've created this roller coaster in which I can't get off, and I don't want to dissemble it. So I had to
just learn how to manage it better.
I just learned how to manage it better, but I still have like the fear of doing it again. Like, during that phase, I had opened a pressure washing company too. And then I'm talking to my therapist, it's October and I'm going, dude, this thing is stressing me out. And he goes, then November rolls around and I'm doing Christmas lights. And he goes, you're doing what? So I knew when I sold my pressure washing company this year, I've been very purposeful about like, cause I knew I was like, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to walk away. No, I'll walk away right now. No money. Cause I'm just done, and I ended up selling it and I was a very easy seller, I got some money for it and I walked away. But I have to be like, I know myself. I'll do it again.
You're a hustler by nature. You're like me.
I know. I just gotta.
Yeah.
And I have like in the past year, I've really been able to be more content with what I have and go, I'm okay. I'm okay. And I don't have to, if I want to make money and hustle, maybe I don't have to operate in that nature. Maybe I could be a true investor and like kind of step away from,
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid of burnout. I hear of it. I haven't even come close to burning out yet.
Yeah.
A lot of therapists burn out for one reason or another.
Yeah. 39 clients a week.
Yeah. I couldn't, that's not sustainable. But then again, you're only talking about, 5 or 6 clients a day, 6 days a week. That's really not that bad, right? 35, if I wanted to do 35 clients a week, which you're only talking about 5 clients a day, for 6 days a week. That's not that bad. I can do 6. But cause I work 6 days a week right now. I've been doing it for over 4 years. Haven't even come close to burning out, but I hear the horror stories of compassion fatigue. And
I've ran into a therapist like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it, but
how do I know it won't hit one day? And where I don't ever want to get to where I'm sitting across from you and I don't give a shit what you're telling me. I never want to get to that point.
Yeah.
No, I want to always care. If I can't be empathetic, compassionate, non-judgmental to everybody, then I shouldn't even be doing it.
I think you just have to get to understand that it's like, for that not to happen, it's like, I work with Threshold or whatever. I've learned that it can always change. Like how I show up can always change. And if I don't care, if I lean into that area, then maybe I should change how I'm operating. Like, I've took sabbaticals. I've evaded. I've became so deep with people. I've created groups of people to lean on themselves. I've done all different forms of, like done tons of different stuff. I've been chairing the same meeting for 8 years or 7 years. So like, I understand that sometimes I'm there and I'll show up and I'll be on fire. And sometimes I'm not, it's 7 years,
Yeah.
But like understanding that, like, well, maybe you're serving clients in your private practice and you start to feel fatigued or whatever. Well, maybe you could move to a segment where you're doing intensives, but you're only doing them once a week, you know, so you're like more, you know, just understand that you're not gridlocked into
Right.
one specific thing over and over, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's where people would get burned out. Like a barber, like they're doing it 8 hours a day, the same haircut, same thing. That could get, you have more flexibility than the barber. You know, he just cuts hair and he does 8 haircuts a day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a different story every day.
Yeah.
You know, so to speak.
Well, that, and there's tons of options as therapists to do different models and ways. And
Yep.
yeah, you don't have to gridlock yourself into doing private practice forever either. You know? I think that's usually the goal, though, is private practice, right?
Well, you would think a lot of people just don't have any business sense, so they're perfectly fine with agency.
Yeah.
But yes, you would think the goal would be private practice. While I was in grad school, I heard over and over and over, you don't become a therapist if you want to get rich. I heard that. I'm thinking, wait a minute. We make $150 to $300 an hour, okay?
Well, if you're a therapist in like a recovery community, like at a treatment, you're not getting rich.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I couldn't understand. That's what they were talking about.
Yeah, but if you're private practice or if you're a part of a group and you're still private practice, you're going to make okay money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what my therapist told me one day. She goes, well, I'll make $150 an hour. I see 25 clients a week. She said, do the math. That's just what she said. And I went,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know. But what people are doing now is they're upping their rate and dropping their clients. So they're seeing less clients for more money. Say, for instance, if your normal rate was 125, right, and you were seeing 25 people a week, you could raise your rate to 200
And see 15.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get those people that will pay that rate. So a lot of people are doing that.
Well, the rate on therapy has drastically went up in the past, 5-6 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It used to be 80 to 120, 130. Now it's 120 to 250.
Depending on where you are,
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're in Franklin, you can get up 250, 275.
Yeah.
Murfreesboro, 125, 150 most.
Yeah.
So
Really? There's nobody higher than that?
not that I know of. I'm sure there is, but not.
I'm about to get a license.
Yeah, yeah. But 150 is hard to get in Murfreesboro. Yeah.
You would think there's, people have money here.
They do. It's just, I don't know. It's tough. So I just started taking insurance. I don't have any insurance clients yet.
But you started
Yeah.
being able to accept it.
Yeah. Because I want to fill my caseload and with both. I want to be able to provide for everybody who needs it. So when I have a mom call me and say, I can't find a good child therapist and I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, do you take it? I had to say no. And now I can say yes. So, but if they say, do you take 10 care, it's still no.
Yeah.
So I wish I could, but I can't.
Those contracts are easier to get, 10 care, but they're so, I feel like you'd have to do group to
A lot
make
of
it.
hoops to jump through and trainings and everything else, and a lot they don't want to pay. And
Yeah, I know.
So I take Cigna, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
That's good.
I'm still on an Optum wait list, United Healthcare, and I tried to get individually credentialed with them over a year ago, and because I wasn't fully licensed, they kicked me back. I just did it to see if that'd work. They got a pretty good reimbursement rate, but they said I have to do it all over again. I said, I just did it with y'all a year ago, and they wouldn't. So I'm on the wait list. They only allow so many people to
join.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. Blue Cross Blue Shield was a big one I've been waiting on. So I just got it yesterday or day before. So anyway, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being on.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like doing them.
And I got to catch up a little bit with you too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah. You like to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what wife says. Yeah.
I used to go home and be like, you know who you don't want to get caught in the parking lot with? You don't want to ever get caught with Bob J or Lester.
Oh,
You'll be
no.
out there. Also, I don't know if John Nelson is like this with everybody, but if we see each other,
Yeah, he is.
I don't know if you're like that with everybody. I just, sometimes we'll talk for 2 hours after a meeting,
So, yeah, some people you just jive with. Like,
yeah.